Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Waters Above. We're less than a week away from a moment that only comes around once every 7 years. We've been tracking this event on this channel now for over a year and a half, and here we are, moments away. So in today's video, I'm going to be covering this recent XRP breakout with a Gematria decode and exposing what this means for Ripple and the crypto market as a whole as we inch closer to the end of this 7-year cycle, which ends next Tuesday. And for anyone that's new to this channel, welcome. If you're unsure of what I mean about this 7-year cycle, I'm talking about the Shemitah, and this will be the end of the Shemitah year, what I'm calling the start of Jubilee. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria Numerology and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow our community. And for those of you that are interested in learning how to decode using Gematria and would like to develop the skills so that you can read the charts on your own, combining Gematria with technical analysis, or if you're seeking coaching for expanding consciousness, you can visit my website, watersabove.com, and check out my crypto mastermind or my new expansion mastermind course available now. The link will be in the description box of this video or in the pinned comment below. And with that being said, let's take the clear pill. So my last video that I put out about the Queen and about Jubilee and the end of the Shemitah was very important. So if you're new to the channel, welcome, and definitely make sure that you go check out that last video. It was about 50 minutes long. It was packed full of information. It was essentially a masterclass in and of itself, just on that specific event that happened, that specific ritual, and how it was so crucial to be aware of that 70-year platinum jubilee and how it has confluence in what we've been talking about over the whole year with the Shemitah and the power of the number 7. So let's just get into today. Actually quite a special day, because between today being the 22nd of September, moving over to the next solar eclipse we have on October 25th, that'll be the first eclipse after the end of the Shemitah year. And I've been putting a lot of emphasis on these eclipses since the start of my work, but if we go back in these 7-year cycles, not only are we seeing big market crashes, but we're able to identify that the market chaos is centered around eclipses, either that being the eclipses that come slightly before Rosh Hashanah or the ones that are after. Okay, so because we have October 25th being that solar eclipse, and then right after it, we have November 7th being a total lunar eclipse, these are really important dates that I've been personally keeping in mind. But this connection here between today and the next solar eclipse is 33 days, the number of transmutation. It's a number of alchemy and magic. And remember, we were talking about the significance of the number 7 because Shemitah is a 7-year cycle, and we were just in Platinum Jubilee, the 70 years as the Queen in numerology. 70, you just remove that 0, you come back to 7. And not only is the date of Rosh Hashanah the 26th of September, the 77 date numerology, but also we're getting a 77 date numerology for the upcoming solar eclipse. So it's very important that we see that there's a deeper connection there. But today is more of like a transition energy, nothing crazy, but we can see it's isolated specifically for XRP, seeing about a 10% gain on today thus far. So we'll be getting into the XRPTA and putting a lot of emphasis on that because I have been not necessarily glazing over XRP. I've been covering it week by week, but it just hasn't been exciting and there's been really no price action. So I've been, doing quicker analysis. And if you guys remember, about 2 weeks ago, I shared a pattern with everyone, somewhat of a symmetrical triangle, but in a bearish posture because it's leading into a downtrend. And I was saying how I was actually anticipating one more relief for this, and that being a bullish pattern and bringing us into, the high 40 cent, possibly 51 cent range. So that is actually played out thus far. It's looking amazing, and it's isolated specifically for XRP. And now we see that the market is balancing in a sense. We saw what happened with ETH recently, and we're seeing XRP dominance get back to a normal range. All things that I've been talking about for the past 2 weeks, and now we're seeing that continuation happen in the chart. So that TA, that call out, it's working out beautifully. And I'll be breaking it down when we get to the TA after we go over some of these crucial dates. So moving on, the 23rd matters in this conversation regarding XRP because we have 99 days left in the year. That's an important number, the 99. And we know that XRP is actually connected to Jupiter. But let me just show you how we have Jupiter is that 99. And in Chaldean cipher, we have 27, just like Ripple is 27. And remember, X is the logo of XRP, which is the 24th letter in the English alphabet. And the Jupiter zodiac logo looks like the number 24. It is the number 24. So I've actually decoded XRP with Gematria a long time ago, very thoroughly, and bringing it back to the mythologies. It's inside of my crypto mastermind course. So anyone who has access to that, you'll see a section in that course that has about 120 videos right now, including my exit strategy blueprint. It's built into that course. But there's a Gematria and decoding section. And if you just want to revisit that to get more of the information, there is a video specifically about XRP. So moving forward, there's also a connection with this 24 and the number 42 with XRP Ripple, giving us 42 in Chaldean. Again, the company and the cryptocurrency of, so that 42 connection is important because that's the mirror of the 24, as above, so below. So moving on, this date is a transition date for me as well. I'm not looking at this like it's going to be the craziest of all time, but one thing I can say is this will be the market close before we move into the weekend that starts the end of the Shemitah. So just be cautious because when we're analyzing this Hebrew calendar, which I'll show you right here, Elul 29, which is the last day that leads to the Hebrew New Year, let's just call it like the New Year's Eve almost, we have this be a transition point date, and that is, just something to keep in mind, guys. Elul 29 being a Sunday means that we're not going to have the whole market open. It'll just be crypto trading for about 80% of the day, and then we'll have Forex, indices, etc. open up a little later into the night. Of course, analyzing this market on Eastern Standard Time, as I've taught you guys before. Now, with Monday being the market open and official Rosh Hashanah, Tishri 1, that's where we're getting our, the big move, in my opinion. We're going to be getting it centered around those 2 days. But that means that tomorrow being the market close is kind of like the precursor of what we could expect leading into the Monday open. Okay. Anyone who studies indices and Forex, you kind of have an idea what I'm talking about. So moving on, this is really the big date that I'm keeping in mind. And it's just isolated to cryptocurrency because it'll be a Saturday and crypto's trading alone. But here's the information regarding this. This will be a connection to the actual date of Rosh Hashanah, which is the 26th, and that gives us 2 days. And the number 2 has had so much significance this year. I keep on telling you guys this in every single video, but with the year being the 5782, this is the Hebrew year, it reduces down to 22. This will be the last day of that year. And then we're transitioning into the year of 5783, and that will actually be the 23, if I show you that really quickly. And that 23 is a very big number, guys. That's why I'm calling this transition Jubilee, because once we're on the 27th of September, Tishri 2, that will be the end and moving into 5783. That 23 connection, like Jubilee, gives us 23 in Chaldean, which also matches Bitcoin, 23 in Chaldean. I mean, we could keep going on this. This is very significant, this number 23, because it's the 9th prime number, and the number 9 is the number of everything, of spatial infinity. It's essentially the number of the end of cycles. Okay, so that is why I'm not anticipating the next 7 years to be like a fiat collapse or a Great Depression or anything like that. I'm actually anticipating that for the next cycle, the cycle of 2028, 2029. All right. And I know many people might not agree with that, but it doesn't matter. I put in my research. I've been doing this now for over a year and a half, very, very detailed decoding, seeing all the events that line up going back over the past 100 years. And I'm pretty adamant that we're going to be seeing a restructuring In the Jubilee year, we're going to be seeing change. We're going to have like the carpet rolled out, but we're not going to be seeing anything disastrous and end times like. That'll be more the 2029 into 2030 cycle. And remember, that'll be just a 100 year or 1 century cycle since the Great Depression. All right. Think about what I just said, the 99 years. That 99 years would be the 2028, and that turns back to Jupiter with the 99, Zeus. And this is a really big story they're playing out here. These elites, the apex predator, they're working with mythology. Trust me on that. So moving forward, this Tues's theme is critical, and this will be 2 days before we have the date of the end of the Shemitah. Another big connection is this is a 21 date numerology, and that 21 ties back to Saturn, and Saturn means everything this year because we're in the Sabbath year, which Sabbath is Saturn, and this is a Saturday, the day of Saturn, meaning this is the last Sabbath day before the end of the Shemitah. So it's very important. This would be the last practicing Sabbath, and then the next day would be Rosh Hashanah Eve, and that is a 22 date numerology, bringing us right back to this 22 with 5782, the Hebrew year, as well as Xrp giving us 22. This is important. We also see Xrp giving us that 23, telling us that these 2 years between the year of 2022 into the year of 2023 was the setup for Xrp and what it's going to be in the long term. So we'll get to that in future videos, but one other connection to be made here is how this date of Sunday, the September 25th date, gives us a 76 and a 22 date numerology. And that 76 again ties back to Ripple with 76, as well as Xrp with 22. All right. This is the day before the end of the Shemitah. It'll be a Sunday. So this whole weekend transitioning us into the 2 days after the Shemitah is going to be a very interesting time frame. Remember, this is the new moon time frame. All right. So moving on, this is a very powerful time, lots of energy. Perhaps even in your normal life, you're noticing some chaos, some energy. Maybe it's been hard for you to sleep lately. Maybe every time you look at the clock, you're seeing these angel numbers and, power numbers, repeating numbers. This is really that time frame. It's not by accident. This isn't coincidence. It's just these 7-year cycles are very important astrologically, and they bring energy. They bring change in currency, fall of empires, wars, etc. So this 24th date, another thing to mention about it is that when we connect it to the next lunar eclipse, which will be the 7th of November, this gives us 44 days. And you all probably remember in a recent video, I was talking about the number 44 and the significance behind it. This will also be, if we're considering the 44th week of the year, that'll be the follow-up date to that week. Now, the 44th week of the year is sandwiched in between the solar eclipse week and the lunar eclipse week. So this is a very, very crucial week this year, all right? Between this moment right now when you're watching this video and the end of the 45th week is going to be probably one of the biggest moves we see in the markets throughout the entirety of our 7-year cycle. So I'm not trying to instill any fear into people or make people influenced in any way, shape, or form. Again, we have 100 years of data showing us how this works. And this November 7th eclipse, I don't think it's one to be disregarding. Last thing I'll be saying is that the actual date of Rosh Hashanah, remember, it leaves 96 days left in the year. And the queen died at 96, allegedly. So another sign of this number 69 and 96 being the yin-yang, the sign of balance. All right, this is all about balance. And you see when you take from Rosh Hashanah to November 7th, it gives you 42 days. Just like Xrp, Ripple gives you 42 Chaldean, just like Saturn gives you 42 reverse full reduction and 69 right there. The mirror of 69 being 96, as above, so below. Rosh Hashanah is going to be a very, very powerful time. And 95 to maybe 99% of humanity has no idea what's coming. So that's where we leave on the positive note as we transition into the technical analysis is you guys are a very rare group. The wolf pack has been aware of the Shemitah and the sabbatical year and the Jubilee and all this stuff for months, if not over a year now. And if you're brand new to this channel and you're open-minded to what we're talking about, welcome. It's great to have you here with us. I recently just did 2 interviews with 3T Warrior Academy on their Good Morning Crypto show, so shout out to them. And I also just did a interview last night with Randy Hilarski. Incredible guy, very kind. I'm very grateful for him to invite me onto his platform. And this individual is also covering the Shemitah. So I am so happy to be seeing more people expose what's going on here with the Hebrew calendar and how important it is for anyone who's involved in markets. So moving on, let's get into some of the TA. I'm just going to start with XRP and look at where we're trading, 44 cents, right after I was talking about the 44th week of the year and this connection between the date and the 24th, which was my key date, the Saturn day on the 21 matching, and then that's 44 days. So just look at that, how that's set up to 44 cents is happening. This is all based on numerology, Gematria Astrology. So getting into the actual technicals where, whether you believe in the esoteric or don't, it's irrelevant at this point. And that is why I also show you the charts. Because if you're not really too savvy or keen on the decoding stuff, well, this is undeniable. Technical analysis done without emotion, actually doing it properly by analyzing the past to see what's the most probable outcome to come next. That is how it's done. And this stuff is what makes it holistic. It's where we take the best of both worlds, apply it all together, and then we're actually able to get some rhyme and reason as to why the markets behave the way they do. So here we are, we have a pattern. I actually did a measured move on the pattern, which would bring us somewhere into the 49-cent range. This is a little bit mixed because I had the scale on logarithmic and I changed it back to linear, but it's quite irrelevant. What matters most is the price target being somewhere around the 200 moving averages. So here, this light green moving average is going to be the 200 exponential. And right here, the dark green moving average is going to be the 200 simple moving average. And we have a wolf cross right here where we see the yellow line crossing above the white line. That is what I call a wolf cross. It's the 8 simple crossing above the 55. This always indicates breakouts because on the day of the breakout, you see the following day we had this red candle, which back tested, and then another pullback, or what I call a throwback candle, where we threw back inside of the pattern, literally halfway through it, and then on the same daily candle we ended green with a new daily close. So let me really zoom in to show you what's going on here. Breakout of pattern, back test the prior resistance as a new support of the pattern, shake out, fake out, throwback, which leads to a green candle close in the same exact day. That's continuation. So that plus the wolf cross plus closing outside of the pattern, what was prior resistance. You see what I'm teaching you here? This actually simplifies it quite a bit. So this was a sign that this was going to keep going. And one of the other things that I was telling everyone about in my community was to look out for XRP dominance and how I actually was seeing a run up on XRP dominance into 3% to 4%. And that we were in a perpetual downtrend, and it was about time that we finally broke out. Once we broke out of this cluster right here about February, March, that was when I was anticipating a move up to about 3% to 4%. And when we get there over 3%, I think that'll be in alignment with what I'm talking about with a 49 cent to potentially even 51 cent XRP. Now, not only is that 44 significant to some of the things that I showed you before, but the number 49 is really important because remember, biblical Jubilee is 7 cycles of 7 Shemitahs, which is 49 years. And on the 50th year, you practice Jubilee. So how coincidental would it be if XRP hit the 49 cent target into Rosh Hashanah and then hit 50 cents into the day after Rosh Hashanah, moving into that Jubilee? And, it would be so perfect numerologically. And when we have all the connections that I shared with you earlier, like the logo being the X, which is the 24th letter, which ties to the Jupiter Zodiac logo, as well as the Gematria connections between Ripple and Jupiter, it's just amazing. So remember, we're also in the year of the tiger. This is another connection that we've been making quite a bit. We're in the Chinese year of the tiger, which gives you that 15 right there. And you also see the 32 and 76, just like Ripple gives you that 32 and 76, but as well as XRP gives you the 15 in the same cipher, in the Chaldean cipher. So that's another connection to Jupiter. As I just shared with you, that tiger matches Jupiter because it's the striped planet. That's more esoteric, but moving on. These price targets also are in alignment with a long-term downtrend resistance line. Let me just show you that really quickly. You see this white line. Of course, it's not perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. It's just showing you overall trend. So the fact that my measured move brings us up into that region and doesn't extend in any dramatic form is another sign that this is actually a very plausible move. And as for higher, if you look right here, you see this kind of double bottom W breakout, which led to a bullish W. Well, if I kept my cursor right here, you see it's about 51 cents. So that gives me a feeling that 51 cents is definitely possible. And then we have some wicks right here, plus a break of support coming in right around there at like 55 cents. So XRP is extremely volatile, guys. We can close a daily at 49 cents. The next day, we could hit up to 55, 56 cents and then keel over. And it could happen that fast, okay? I'm not saying that's what it will do. I'm just saying this coin is very pumpy dumpy, all right? I don't see the next big meteoric breakout happening for XRP for quite a while, probably not until about next summer, which would be, past May of 2023. This is going to take some time, but on any moves, if you've been buying these lower prices and you want to de-risk, not financial advice, that's on you, but we're about to enter the end of the Shemitah, which could be bringing XRP down to below 27 cents. So I know what I'll be doing, and that would be a perfect play to see a rejection at the 51, maybe even 55 cent, get brought right back to the 30, 33 cent level, break support at the end of the Shemitah, leading into the November eclipses, which will probably bring you down to some of these lower levels right around here, somewhere into 22 to 23 cents. And how perfect would that be after we start the Hebrew year of 5783 with the 23 that we see XRP hit 23 cents one more time, and what I would be actually considering the lowest it goes before reversal, one of the greatest last buying opportunities for XRP, pretty much I believe in maybe the next 5 years. So this is a really, really crucial time to be paying attention, and it is not isolated to just XRP. I believe we'll also see that happening in all the other cryptos. Also during this time frame, we're going to be seeing a lot of cryptos go to zero. So that's another thing that could pump this market in regards to the fundamental coins, the ISO 222 coins, and these coins that actually have somewhat of a technology behind them, all right? Similar to the dot-com bubble. When we saw the bubble pop, all that liquidity left the garbage and it went back into the stuff that had utility. XRP being one of those projects that I believe has an immense amount of its utility, not just my opinion. I mean, it's being used by banks, central banks, etc. So one thing to mention also on the technical side is we have a 5-day close coming in tonight. So let me just show you, if I turn off everything, this 5-day close is extremely strong. I mean, we're breaking above all of the key support levels, and this is the W. So the last 5-day would have been below the neckline, and this is above the neckline. A 5-day close is just as important as a weekly close, pretty much, when you're analyzing cryptocurrency, because crypto trades 24/7. So there's a lot of data here. So that is another thing to mention. Tonight on our daily close, we're going to also be getting a 5-day close, and this is a very strong 5-day. Let me open up the Bollinger Bands and see if we're getting something. Okay, well, there you go. We are also going to be closing above the topside Bollinger Band on the 5-day. That is a continuation sign. We also are trading above 50 RSI on the 5-day chart. That's a very bullish sign. I don't know what more to say, guys. This looks like a continuation of a breakout. So I'm going to leave the XRP analysis at that. I mean, look at this daily right here. We're just continuing daily candles above that topside Bollinger Band. That's a pretty decent sign. We know we had the wolf cross. Let's look at the EMAs. They're all in bullish posture. We have the 13 above the 21, above the 34. Let's look at the 2-day right there. That's looking beautiful too. Next 2-day closure is actually tomorrow night. We could see the blue is above the red. That's a very critical cross. And then once this 21, the orange line gets in between the blue and the red, they'll all be in bullish posture. And that is a huge triple cross right there. The one thing is the RSI is getting a little bit into the overheated and not at nearly as high as it could go. I think the daily RSI on this can go way higher. This is crypto. We could be seeing it up at 93. So if we start seeing XRP break above like the 80 RSI as it gets to that 49, maybe 51 cent level, that is definitely a sign to de-risk, because you don't just see RSI continue much past 95. So keep everything I said in mind. Take notes. This stuff is very important, guys. MACD is looking great in bullish territory. Histogram's green. I mean, this is looking amazing. So very bullish on XRP for the short term, but as we get closer to the end of this final Rosh Hashanah date, we'll see how things go. We do have a bullish window, though, that could be up to 5 days after the new moon. So let me just show you that really quickly. This is something I've been teaching for a while. It's a loose window, but the 25th is the actual new moon, which takes us to pretty much the start of October as a possibility for bullish continuation. So getting back, let's look at Bitcoin, and then we'll wrap up with ETH and then move on. So you see the difference here in the charts where all of these EMAs are actually in the opposite of what we just saw with XRP. This is a bearish posture where we have the 34 above the 21, above the 13. We have RSI below 50. We have red in our MACD histogram. This is not looking great, but one of the things that I'm seeing here is this could be a huge W breakout. So I've shared a scenario of the 1973 stock market, what I believe was the last Jubilee. We entered something called the 1973 to 1975 recession, which was the aftermath of the Nixon shock with Richard Nixon, gold standard, petrodollar, etc. You all know about this. So there's the October 25th eclipse, and that could be a thing to keep on our radar. If we are going to mimic that year of 1973, we could be seeing lots of political destabilization, lots of scandal, lots of that shit. But moreover, we could actually be seeing Bitcoin go bullish into the end of October, and then have a very dramatic move to the downside into that in the November eclipse. So think of it as a kind of a very dramatic play. And I'll draw out what I'm saying right now. This might be helpful for you guys. So let's just say it would be something like this. Move into October 25th, and then break. And then the break would actually probably bring you somewhere to 14.5 as low as 12.5. And this would be bought back up very quickly, like a V-shaped recovery. This type of move is actually something that was similar in the C-word crash and this pandemic crash. All right. It would be something like this. And you see the structure where there's a rally, there's a bull trap, and then boom. So this would be your bull trap breakdown, catching bears and bulls in the same month, and then just ricochet up. And this time frame of recovery could probably take till about April or May. So don't get too caught up in the timing of how I drew this. Just look at the shape and the structure. We have a W. The W comes to a fulfillment somewhere around 30, and then we have rejection, real sharp spike into the lunar eclipse. Okay, so that's a very high possible play, especially with how oversold the entire market has been, with how dramatic, the stock market has been, with how dramatic the DXY, the US dollar currency index, has been. I mean, look at the bonds, 10-year yield. It's just, this market is ridiculous. But haven't we been anticipating this type of market? We've been talking about the Shemitah for a year now, over a year and a half. The Wolfpack has known that this year would be like this. So getting back to Bitcoin, I'm just going to disregard this fractal. This was kind of just me having some fun with the charts. But remember, I've been showing you guys this chart for quite a bit now. We hit our throwback levels, and now we're just bottoming out. This would not be weird to have a pull up to the psychological level of 20 just to kind of push us up a little bit of relief. But if we're not closing above 21K again soon, Bitcoin's going to look weak, and the altcoins might actually do okay. At least XRP and maybe the coins that are tied to the energy of XRP, which would be things like Stellar Lumens, Algorand, IOTA, XDC, Quant, etc. So this is a really interesting setup right now where we're seeing that XRP is finally waking up, and because it was so boring, it then becomes exciting. And who's been teaching you guys that for the past year and a half? Every time XRP gets boring, I start building positions and I know it's about to get exciting. That's always how this goes. And if you remember at the start of my channel back in April of 2021, March and April, we saw that same play, where XRP was very boring, trading around that 20-30 cent range. I said that it would go above $1 for the first time, and then it went to like $1.96. Okay, and people, the retail, were chasing green candles the whole way to the upside. So don't be that person. Build positions when it's boring. The two best times to actually dollar cost average and invest is when it's bloody or when it's boring. All right, remember I said that. So moving on, Bitcoin TA, it's just looking choppy at this time. I would like to see daily closes above 20,200, but ideally above 21,000. Until then, we're just in this range, catching these wicks. And with any daily closes really below the 18K level, I think we'll just fill out this wick, and downside continuation is definitely in play as well. So Not too much positive to say on the Bitcoin chart from the structural perspective, but it was a dramatic move to the downside, oversold. And we know that when Bitcoin gets dramatically oversold, it could become bought back up within days. ETH is another great example, but look at how beautiful this firmament line has been. So I have not changed this dome, this orange dome shape for months now, going on over 100 days probably. All right. So look at where we just came to backtest. Perfectly wicked on that outside of the firmament. This is a gorgeous pattern. And this is where esoteric analysis and more experimental technical analysis could be beneficial. You know, we broke this white trend line, which I said once we close a daily below it, I'm expecting us to move down to this yellow line. We came right back down to the yellow line and even bounced perfectly on a wick on this firmament dome. So now this is very much looking like a awkward bull flag. You know, you got your flag staff, you have your flag pole and your flag. That could be the play here. So it does look a little awkward, but that could be, you know, a hell of a recovery if that was to be the way that it plays out. So I would still be actually looking for resistance to kick in around 1500 right here. So at the outside of this white line plus this resistance line right here, and as well as its confluence with 3 different levels, guys, with 1600 here, with this trend line and with this white trend line, which is very significant. So if we're going to get bought back up, I would look out for this white trend line and this action right here around 1600. We're starting to close above 1,600, 1,700. Then I think continuation into maybe a double top on this level right here at 2,000 could be possible into late October. It just depends on the entirety of this setup. So downside is just going to be continuing to follow this firmament, or we have this as a possibility as well, just extending that trend line out, and that could be giving us somewhat of a bottom level around 1,160, 1,150. All right. So I'm going to be leaving it at that. I went over a lot today. I will be making another video probably on the day of Rosh Hashanah. I also have something very special for you guys coming next week. So stay tuned. I appreciate every single one of you. Much love to the Wolf Pack. Also, patreon.com/watersabove. I just released my last Red Pill podcast in the week. I have been really taking extra time to do those podcasts. So if you're interested in more behind the scenes content and you want access to our private Discord, you could become a Patreon supporter of the Mastermind community over on patreon.com/watersabove. I appreciate all of your support. Wishing you a beautiful rest of your day. I'll catch some of you on tomorrow's Shroom stream, Friday night live stream that we'll be doing. Appreciate every single one of you. Much love.